No one in this world can you trust. Not men, not women, not beasts. This you can trust.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Glory of Golden State Gaming. I'm your host, Swamp Swimmer, and with me today, Glory of Golden State's secret spy assassin at the Masters, Henry. How you doing, Henry?
Pretty good. I thought you were gonna say like you're Lex Luthor, or you're Lex Luthor to your Superman, but I'll take it.
You're not the villain. Why do you think you're the villain? Anyway,
come on. I've seen our games. I'm the villain.
Well, Vespasian and I could not make it to the Masters, and we thought, what is the next best person to do battle reports? It's Henry, who of course qualified. Henry, tell the folks a little about yourself, just like, when did you start playing these board games, and what armies do you play, and all that good stuff.
So I started in 6th edition. A good buddy took me down to Games Workshop San Francisco, and I picked up Beastmen, played that for years, then got into Vampires, and been playing 9th since the game died, more or less.
Since the world blew up, and we now play the 9th Age.
Improved.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know, is there anything else? You usually play Vampire Covenant, but you have a few other armies. I know you have a Beast Herds army.
Yeah, I've got Beast Herds, Sylvans. I pretty much have more or less everything somewhere in a box somewhere. But
and I also
Vampires are my
Vampires
army.
Jam. But you've been hinting at taking a different army to March to War, which is coming up very, very soon.
Yeah, so Masters is the last run for Vampires for this year. I played 103 games last year, and about 50% were Vampires. So I'm a little burnt out.
A little burnt out. I can imagine that. The last thing I wanted to mention is you are a frequent guest member of the Paired Weapons podcast. And I wanted to shout out to the Paired Weapons podcast. I listen to them myself, and you are great on that podcast.
Yeah, they're a fun bunch of guys. It's amazing who you meet just being on social media too much.
True. But anyway, let's get to your round 1 game. If I remember correctly, you got paired into the mirror match with Chris Mintz. Both of you guys are great players. This is the
yeah,
and you guys are your armies. Go ahead.
I was going to say Chris and I have been friends and vampire colleagues since 7th edition on the old Carpet Noctum forums, and we've been at a few tournaments, but this is the first time we actually ever played a game, so it was kind of cool.
This is the first time you guys have actually played a game against each other, which is awesome.
Yeah, since end of 7th.
Wow, that's crazy.
9 years.
Just a tidge. We're gonna talk about Henry's list, but before we get into it, if anyone's wondering, click the link that's right above my head. It is the list review video for the Masters we did a little while ago. We go through all the lists, including Henry's and Chris's. But take us through your list really quick, and what's new, what's different, what do you think when going into the tournament, what do you think was going to work and what wasn't?
So this is kind of the same list I took to Zoo. So Vampire Count, Dead Arise, Independent with Arcane Knowledge, so +6 inch range on spells. Colossal Zombie Dragon, he's a Wizard Master of Occultism. Paired Weapons with Touch of Greatness, an Obsidian Rock. So the theory is, and I've got infinite cats in this room, so they might pop in at some point. The theory is he's 1,200 points that in most games you'll never actually give up. So you always minimize your loss by at least 3 battle points.
Yeah.
And he picks up battle points at range rather than actually in combat. So there's never any risk involved. And then the rest of the list is primarily just chaff. So 2 necromancers, one on alchemy with crystal ball, one on Evo with occultism. They made necromancers cheaper, so they're great chaff. They're great heal piece. Then 41 skeletons, Legion standard spears, great unit if they get ignored to charge into flank. Otherwise, they just hang back and score. 52 zombies, kind of the same theory. 2 tens of dire wolves of champs, which are probably the best core unit in the game.
Yeah, probably.
Or at least the most abusable. The way champs work with blown characters and healing is probably should go away, but that's another video.
That's a whole nother discussion to have.
Dark Coach, 2 gas darts of champions, once again abusing game mechanics. Hey, get down. He's about to take a dive into an army box. 8 spectral hunters, which are kind of my pet project right now. They're either incredibly good or awful. So
yeah, I feel like they either like blow through something or they whiff hard. That's what I've noticed.
And then 2 phantom hosts. They made them infinitely cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still just as abusable as they always were. 2 of Aegis is absurd. And then 2 Varkalax, which I think they were made too cheap in the last update. They went down 20 points.
Yeah, their Varkalax are just so good. I feel like the double Varkalak is almost an auto in these VC lists.
Yeah, when they were about 700 points, it was a bit too much. And now they're 650. And it just feels like they're a brainless choice. And then three Knights of the Champ. On the list review, I think Vespasian covered, but they're just a great little scoring unit. Super sticky, hard to remove. They can march out of the general bubble. They fight most things fairly well. They're 7 strength 7. Just a great little unit. And it's the 3rd scoring unit for the army.
I mean, yeah, I agree with all those about the Vampire Knights. It scares me a little bit if you run into something that can get through armor. There's what, 6 wounds there? Yeah.
There's 6 wounds, but normally they're just deployed on the board edge, and they just kind of run around. They're not supposed to be in a battle line.
Yeah, gotcha. That makes sense. So let's move on to Chris's list, and it's similar but different.
Yeah, I actually really liked playing this game because it shows a theory of mine that the Vampire book is the best non-lab book just in the game right now. It's just super versatile. Its one problem is you have to know how to play vampires to play the Vampire book. It's not
exactly.
Book you can just pick up.
If you get yourself in the wrong situations, your army will just crumble in front of you. Yeah.
And also, it just doesn't, like, you don't have a psychology phase. You don't build lists the same. Every aspect of the game is different.
Yeah.
But there's 2 lists that look incredibly different, play incredibly different, but they come out of the same book. And this is just 2 of like 10 builds the Vampire book can give you at a drop of a hat.
That triple Banshee, and he's got 9 race. It's just an interesting.
This list has like multiple terror causers. It still has a bunch of fast mobile pieces. It gives up combat punch for just being sticky. Like that Barrow King alone is really hard to remove. He's really quick, and he can just get stuck in places that are really obnoxious.
So what is he? He's a 2-up rerollable?
Yeah, he's a 2-up or a 1-up. He's the BSB, so he reduces his own crumble. The Necromancers, since he's not a vampire, the Necromancers can heal him very easily. Or not the Necromancers, the vampires.
Yeah. Interesting.
them being Nosferatu, they're just glorified necromancers anyway. But they're not meant to be in combat.
Yeah, true. So let's go to your first image here. This is just your magic selection.
Yes. So this is, I believe, all 5 of my games, I never deviated from this.
Mm-hmm.
So the 2 red cards are the 2 heals. One the dragon has, one of the necromancers has. The old Tomb King card is the Raise Dead.
Mm-hmm. The bound spell,
easier, yeah. It's easier for people in the game to track if I do it this way. So then the necromancer has Quicksilver Lash.
Mm-hmm.
And then the big dragon has Pentagram, Breath of Corruption, Grave Calls, and
Mark for Doom. So all the offensive spells.
Yeah. There's the building block of my list is everything that's a champ or it's a lone model.
Yeah.
So Breath of Corruption, when it's +6 inch range, is an 18-inch cast into an 18-inch threat. So it's just the entire magic phase is built to blast from 18 odd inches away.
Interesting. All right, well, let's get into it. It looks like this is deployment. This was refused flank, and what was the secondary?
We both pick a terrain piece.
Oh, King of the Hill, yeah.
Yeah, he picked this runes for me to take up in the top left-hand corner.
Uh-huh.
And I picked this water feature for him. So I picked table sides, and he dropped on me, which when we were talking about it later, we both kind of agreed might have been a mistake for him. But I'll kind of show how that plays out. So he's got a Varkalak on his far right over here.
This one here?
Or yeah, stage right. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then ghouls into wraiths, into his 2 vampires, and this weird zombie dart thing.
Oh, those are zombies too wide.
Zombies too wide with both his vampires in there.
Interesting. What do you think his thought process was there?
So there'll be a picture coming up here that kind of shows I don't think there was a ton of thought process to it. And I think it almost cost him the game on turn 1.
Oh.
But I think this is just a deployment, kind of a standard log stock deployment that he's used to.
Okay.
So he went for that. But there'll be a problem with this deployment here in a little bit. And then the skeletons with all the banshees and the BSB on the horse.
Mm-hmm.
Then I forget what this unit is. Oh, it's his dogs. And then the big Winged Reaper unit. And then there's a Varkalak on the far other side. So
yeah, right there.
Bookending Varkalaks.
Okay, and what about on you? Starting your right.
So my right is going to be both units of dogs, I believe. So there's one out of the picture and then one here.
Okay.
The skeletons. No, there's the other unit of dogs. The Dark Coach, the Varkalak, the dogs behind him, the Spirit Hosts, who in this job, or in this deployment, actually have a different job, which is hit magic attacks. So they are on Wraith killing duty.
Wait, do Wraiths have magical attacks also?
Yeah, Wraiths also have magic attacks, but they have great weapons, and ghosts are agility like 2. So it's like, okay, the ghosts in this game are not meant to be chat, but they're actually meant to kill something. And then the three Vampire Knights. So this is a counter deployment because both Chris's vampires are not defensively anything, and he's deployed them on the line, not hiding behind anything. The theory is if he moves wrong at all, I have long charges. Sure, they're long charges, but if they're made, the game ends.
They'll break the game. Yeah, gotcha.
And then there's a Varkalak right next to them for the exact same theory. the dragon sits behind them and gives the 18-inch march bubble to the entire army. Both gas darts, one's kind of behind the dragon there.
Yeah.
The zombies, and then the spectral hunters are all the way over there. And the two necromancers are up here. I think they both deploy somewhere. They don't go in units. There's no point.
That's interesting. You use those guys as chaff pieces. That's really interesting.
So they're chaff, and they can get involved in the same combat as the dragon if it gets involved, and so could challenge for him. So they're like mobile champions.
Mobile, like take a challenge if I need to.
Yeah.
All right. So next photo is here. Is that just deployment?
Yeah, this is just a different deployment angle.
Yeah.
Kind of.
But
everything's like nicely painted.
Yeah.
This is also after Vanguards.
Exactly. So he vanguards his Varkalak over here and farther off to the left, and you bring this one up the center.
Yeah.
Again, I think putting pressure on those vampires.
Yeah, giving me an option to thread the needle. Also, him pushing this Varkalak up, we talked about it later, and the Spectral Hunters are such a bad matchup. They have flaming attacks. Varkalak doesn't have magic. So he was kind of unsure about that Varkalak, but this was more the repercussions of him dropping on me when I think he should have just deployed tit for tat with me.
Okay.
But, so yeah, that's just Vanguards.
So it looks like he got top of one, right?
Yeah. So he runs everything up to kind of get these awkward little chaffs with the dogs. And the big, I'm going to call them Morghast. They're not called Morghasts anymore. But pop up to just kind of zone and keep my piddly stuff honest. The Vargulf zips over here to try to get behind me.
Yep.
And as you can see there are arcs on my Varkalaks and my Knights, because the Vampire Stick is right behind the Skeleton unit.
Yeah.
But not hidden. It's just kind of out of this photograph. So that was his first turn. There's no magic. He's very much on evocation and witchcraft. I believe I used Binding Scroll on Ravenswing this turn, just so he can't get the bunker out of dodge, because it's at this point he realized what the problem is. So I throw all my dice to stop Van Hels and bind Ravenswing.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to let him correct this mistake.
So explain to me what the mistake is. Explain to me what the mistake is.
So the mistake is deploying like that allowed the Varkalaks to Vanguard to give them, I believe they were both 10s on dice, just to get into the vampire unit.
Okay, this unit here.
And the trick with the Nosferatu vampires is they're the cheapest wizard master kind of in the game, but they only have hero points
defensive
for items.
Yeah.
So Chris just didn't buy them anything. So they're T4, 3 wounds, nothing. But if you've ever played vampires, you know if the vampire goes down, the army goes down.
Yeah, I gotcha. So you got long charges with both Varkalaks and the Vampire Knights.
Yeah.
And you just wanted to stop him Ravenswing and getting away from you.
Yeah, I want to stop him being able to hide those vampires, because I'm going to take these long charges and I have the chaff to protect myself if I fail. But if I make it, this game's a non-event, is my thinking.
Fair enough. I mean, that makes sense. Let's see what happens.
So this is my one. So the Varkalak fails its one charge, and the second one Chris might have made it like boxes, so instead of taking boxes, I just marched him up.
Oh, so you didn't charge, you only charged with one of the Varkalaks.
Yeah. The other one needed a 10 and one needed boxes.
I see. I gotcha.
And while I'll take an 11, I'm not too keen on the double sixes.
Yeah.
Especially when I can just throw the Vark up and do the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Over here, everything, the zombies and the gas start going to the dogs. So the zombies needed a 8 on the overrun to hit the wing reapers. So I was pretty happy with that, because if I can hit them go into combat on his turn, those wing reapers are going to be there forever and pretty much out of this game.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can see it in the very, very top, the Dark Coach charge the ghouls.
Ooh, I feel like that's I feel like it's too many attacks for a Dark Coach, but Dark Coaches are tough.
So, yeah, they've got a 3-up, 4-up. It's only fighting 4 ghouls, and that charge needed to happen because if the Vark failed, the ghouls had an easy charge kind of into the Vark, and then just flank rolling down my line. And the thinking was, the ghouls will never beat the coach on the charge. They'll take like 2 or 3 turns. So I've got time. Like, even if the coach loses, I've got time.
All right.
And that's about it for that movement phase. This is showing the coach and his Vark, and I start doing this weird little dance over here in the bottom corner.
Yeah, this one's over here, and you turn to face it with the skeletons here? Or these are zombies?
Yeah. No, those are the skeletons.
Skeletons.
I'm happy if the Vark comes in. I'm working off static 5. So we should push combats until the Varkalek dies, pretty much. Because he can't afford to miss. I can afford to just sit there.
Yeah, gotcha. I guess the question is why you don't really care if he charges you in the rear or the flank, right? So why turn to face him?
Because that first round, so turning to face him, I put the dogs here, so he can't even charge the dogs. Because since I'm not going to break, he's going to hit me and he'd overrun a little bit away, and then I just charge him in the rear.
Yeah.
The vampire or undead mirror is super interesting because no one's breaking from combat. There's no panics. There's no fleas. So you're working off of
the only
overruns
overrun.
and arcs.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting. Okay.
This just shows in the magic phase I put Mark for Doom on the Wraith or on the white character and do 3 wounds. So he's got 1 left.
Ooh. That's rough.
Yeah. So here, this is his movement. So zombies mess up their overrun by 1 inch.
Huh.
And I was kind of sloppy here. This is like the one sloppy play I made this game, and it made me a little bit annoyed, but it's whatever. He could barely see the end of the Spectral Hunters with the Winged Reapers. So he charged in there, which let his Varkalak get out of trouble. And then he zips, you can kind of see it at the top center there, he zips the white character in front of the Varkalak.
Oh, I see.
1 inch in front. Because he can't get the zombie bunker very far back. And then everyone else just backs away from me. Because he realizes that he is not the aggressive player in this game. He's the defensive player.
Gosh, yeah, I feel like these guys down here, if you were 1 inch short of overrunning into him, you had to have chaffed them, right?
They fly.
That's what I'm thinking about. Gotcha.
Yeah. No, I needed the zombies to hit their 8, and I believe they hit their 7. Like that.
There you go. Let's see here. I think this is just showing the movement, right? The white king.
This is just a clear photo of the White King popping in front of that Varkalak. And the Wraiths also popped in front of the Spirit Hosts and other Varkalak to stop this charge. Because the Wraiths will kill Varkalak. they have flaming attacks, they're strength 5. We'll just kill it.
Yeah, makes sense. It looks like you got 2 wounds on the Varkalak. Where did that come from? Do you remember?
I think that's just all his magic.
Yeah.
Death snipes, and I don't. Oh, he might have reaped me as well with the wraiths.
Oh, I gotcha. Yes,
yeah, because the reaping attack is not flaming, so he like dipped the Varkalak with the wraiths, but the Varkalak doesn't die. It just takes a little bit of love from his magic phase and the wraiths.
Gotcha. And of course, these big guys kill off the Spectral Hunters.
So this was actually super close. They don't have magic attacks. So if I had spiked that save, I stick around there and reform. And I believe I failed one save that tilted the combat and let him crumble me out.
No way.
But we were talking about that, and I was like, well, you know, they do have a 3-up. And he was like, yeah, I thought about that after I declared the charge. But that's playing undead, is you expect things to crumble when it goes into a flank.
Yeah.
So now I'm just on a new form of damage control for this. And you can see the little necromancer in the corner getting ready to do his chaff part if he needs to as well.
Right here. Yeah, I see him.
Jump in front of that Varkalak.
All right. Oops, there we go.
Okay, so I missed one picture here, and it was his Varkalak. I was just being a little fast and loose and gave him a charge into the dogs past the skeleton unit and my dogs that then overran into the rear of my Varkalak. So we were going to fight that. The Varkalak that's currently next to the dragon.
Oh, this one here. Gotcha.
Yeah. So he overran in there. So on my turn, I knew I needed to bail the Varkalak out. So I put the dragon in the flank and dogs in the rear.
Oh,
just to make sure that that Varkalak dies before it kills my Varkalak. Spirit hosts go into the wraiths.
Yeah, makes sense here.
This dart, I guess, charges. Oh, it charges to pin the banshees in place because I know he won't kill me in a turn.
Yeah.
So I just want the banshees
and
not
you don't
to
want
go
the
anywhere
banshees,
for a turn.
yeah, breaking up the band and going out and chaffing things.
Yeah, and then the vampire knights come up here to either pressure the ghouls or thread this needle if the Varkalak dies or something goes wrong here. And the zombies start pushing up.
Yeah, they push
the
up.
Zombies are just pushing up to make him care about them because the objective is right in front of them. So he needs to actually stop them. He can't just let them go. And as you can see over here, our ghouls have been dying at a fairly steady pace.
Yeah, so I don't see any wound marker on your dark coach, so you seem to be doing well over there. Yeah,
it's got a 3-up vampiric, so it normally was taking 1 wound in a combat and then just picking it back up at the end of combat.
That's yeah, you're right. That's a good combat for you.
And the 2 necros are just running around being field medics if they need to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, in case they need to put up wounds.
Okay, so things changed here.
Yeah, so here, this is going to be the start of a trend for me at this tournament, where my Varkalak charges the White King, who's on a single wound.
Yeah.
And 5 attacks, hatred, strength 6. Just need 1 wound on him. 5 attacks, they all miss. Okay, no worries. Reroll into all miss. Alright. Well, it's still going to be pretty tough for the White King to kill me. We're pushed on res. I've got 1 wound on me, so he needs to do 2. And he's only got 4 attacks. So, of course, he hits with everything. He gets 2 lethal strikes and kills me.
Oh,
So at this point, the
That's a
window for
turning,
me sniping down his characters and capitalizing on his mistake is rapidly closing.
mm-hmm.
In addition, there are a few other things. The gas start, as you can see, is completely gone, which I'm not even going to run those numbers. It's abysmal. I have 7 attacks plus a stomp, and he just has 3 ranks. A Legion Standard and a Banner. Oh no, he doesn't even have Legion. So it's 3 ranks and a Banner. So I believe he does like 4 wounds to the Ghast, and I do 0 to him or something like that. So the Ghast can pop on a charge.
Yeah, you bounce twice in one turn. That sucks.
Oh no, sir, no. So the Ghosts go in and kill, I believe, 1 Wraith, which is their preferred fight, and then the Wraith kills a whole base. So my base survives on a wound.
Ugh.
And then the dragon goes into this Varkalak and does 0 wounds to the Varkalak through the dragon and the vampires. My Varkalak does 0 wounds to him. And I believe my dogs do 1 wound to him, and he proceeds to do 3 wounds to the dragon. Which means it's a pushed combat. And his Varkalak goes nowhere. So all of a sudden, every single one of these plays that's made to capitalize on one of his mistakes has just blown up in my face.
Yeah, backfired hard. And then it looks like after you bounce off the BSB goes into your knights.
Yeah, so he charges into the flank of the Vampire Knights. The Banshee unit just repositions to bail out where needed. His General's unit is having a really hard time actually getting away from me still, because he can't he doesn't seem to want to turn around and just walk away. And then he starts chipping on the zombie block down in the corner.
Yeah.
But as you see, the ghouls are still dying. They're dying at a very steady pace. So I've got one thing going for me right now, and it's that those ghouls just keep dying.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so the dragon gets free. We kill that Varkalak like we were supposed to. In the upset of upsets, he forgets that the Vampire Knights have a champion. So his charge and flank and all that, I just challenge. The White King has the same weapon skill as my champion, and just kind of doesn't do anything. And I think I do a 1 to him. So
and then you
push
crumble
the combat.
like 1, yeah.
Yeah, I crumble 1 or 2. So that was my first little thing of good luck. The Varkalite goes into the ghouls here. It's about this time that my beard gets caught in the dragon's wing and breaks it off.
No, look, it's right here.
No, that's a stub. That's a stub.
That's where it used to connect to the
yeah. Necromancers are still running around doing their job. The dogs are getting ready to dive in front of a hand grenade. So I'm like scrambling this back together, but we've had a few setbacks, and his little vampires keep backing up.
Yeah, and it looks like the race ate your spirit host.
Yeah, they ate my spirit host, but it's actually good they ate the spirit host in his turn, because it means in my turn I get to magic them, in theory.
Yeah. Yep.
Here's
you just won't die.
Photo of my boy. I believe I do 1 wound to him, he does nothing to me, so we like push.
Oh, and he was healing wounds, so he's still at 1 wound left, right?
Yeah, no, I think he's now at like 2, because the vampires put 2 wounds on him every cast, so it's just he's super egregious to get rid of.
Yeah.
But this Vampire Knight's doing more than the dragon did in combat, so and more than the Varkalak did, so he's got something to prove. He's doing his job.
Let's see here.
So,
is it no more zombies? They went through all those zombies?
Yeah, they went through all the zombies, and I was running the math, so I put the gas start into the rear of the Reapers, because of the theory is if the gas do 1 wound to the Reapers, They crumble down to just one ghast with one wound on him after how many zombies are left die. So I hold up the Wing Reapers for another turn.
Mm-hmm.
However, as per my luck this game, the ghast proceed to do 0 wounds. So they pop. So I just gave him a ghast start for free, just as a consummation prize for showing up. And the Wing Reapers get a reform.
And then go into the remaining bro knight that's going to die very quickly.
Yeah, so everything in the kitchen sink gets thrown at this Vampire Knight. The Dark Coach and the Varkalak are going to clean up the ghouls this turn.
Yeah, almost done, yeah.
And the dragon, I believe, has healed all its wounds off it, just to not risk anything happening there.
Yeah, I think it says one wound there, but yeah, you're almost full.
Yeah. Now we've completely redeployed our battle lines. And then I think this is the last photo. So pretty much the dragon pops over here. I magic down all the raids except for the champion on 1 wound. So I flew out to try to get to him. Chris just has an incredible magic face of stopping my spells. Like, he's throwing 3 dice against my 4.
And getting it, yeah.
Making it look easy. And he did a move at first where all the Banshees like popped out and were doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And then he thought about it for a minute and took that back and was like, no, that's not right. So all the Banshees joined the Lord's unit, because if all the Banshees are going off doing their own thing, I just bubble Pentagram.
Yeah,
probably
and then they all
just
pick
them all up.
Yeah.
So we talked about that, and I was like, I don't think that's what you're supposed to be doing. I think you're supposed to circle the wagons, defend all those points. And yeah, so neither of us get secondary. He kills my brave bouncing point, the Vampire Knight boy, and that's kind of how this game ends.
And it ends
I
on
believe it ends, yeah,
on a 7 for you.
7-13 to Chris. It's a little frustrating just because Chris handed me a 20 on turn 1. And then kept handing me good scores that I just kept letting myself down on.
Yeah, I feel like he made the right choices, and just the dice weren't with you. That long charge into his vampire block with the Varkalak was hard. You should have killed this Varkalak in the first round of combat.
Yeah, that combat was a heartbreaker. Just watching the dragon do 0 wounds and taking 3 in return was.
And then, of course, against the BSB, he should have died a while ago. But
yeah, that's why you roll the dice, and it was. I tried to stem the bleeding and capitalize on Chris's mistakes, and the dice just weren't having it. But Chris is a good player; he knows what he's doing. So
I have not had the pleasure of playing Chris yet, but I look forward to it because he's probably going to stomp me. But that was a really interesting game. That's a very tactical game, which was cool. Hey, if anyone's still watching, please hit that like and subscribe button. We greatly appreciate you watching. Henry, I want to thank you for being on the channel. We're going to do all of your games from the tournament, so 4 more games.
Only the ones I win from now on. I'm not going to do my losses. Draw the line.
But we'll see you all in the next video. Thanks.